Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Haslam, and this is Cosmic Surfers. There is an attempt, and it's been going on for a long time, to build up to a war with China. There is constant manipulation in the media, pushing towards conflict there. There's build up going on in Taiwan. John Pilger did a documentary at least 10 years ago, maybe around 2014 or so. I've double checked that, fact check me, around the coming war with China. But what I wanted to bring to light today is the psychopathic nature of this narrative around, because China, we need to race to win the AI war, because if we don't do it, then China's going to do it. We need to have advanced weaponry or fuel the military industrial complex, because if we don't do it, China's going to take over the world. We have Gaza as the method, as Catherine Austin Fitz talks about, where they use these use that situation to get battle tested and battle ready weaponry. The control system, complete surveillance, social coordination, and like locking populations down. And as we saw during COVID, if you remember, part of what was going through the media early on was, oh, well, look at what China can do. They can just lock everyone down. If only we could do that, then we would be able to handle this better. And if you've read people like Whitney Webb, you'll know that there's partnerships in technology, and that there's really no difference between the West and the East. In the early 90s, relationships and the Clintons were being built in China, and obviously like well before then. But it is a false narrative that China is any different than whatever the elites of other parts of the world are doing. Now, you can argue, and this is where people like Ashton Forbes and even Salvatore Pais, who, does work in the military and does work in this advanced technology, but, there is that kind of narrative that, we need these scalar weaponry in action, or, we need to have this because if we don't, then, China's going to do it. But the point here that I want to get to is that it's no excuse to act immorally. It's no excuse to act like psychopaths. And it's no excuse to keep going in a direction which is not in our highest good individually and collectively. This is not where we want to go as a human race. And it's disgusting. It's immoral. So why are we doing it? It's not a good excuse. And we can only go so far down this track of being like, oh, well, if we don't do this psychopathic thing, then China will do it. It's lame, and it's bullshit, and it's false, and it's immoral. So part of the narrative here, and yes, I'm aware of the microchips and semiconductors, I'm very aware of all that, and the connection with that and quantum, and we've covered at length quantum and AI, and how that connects with time and spiritual nature of things. But there's also this narrative that, China is going to take over financially. So we have to do this, otherwise, China is going to, economically, take over everything. And that, my friends, is incorrect. And who better to introduce in this regard than Catherine Austin Fitz, who found the $21 trillion missing from the US economy. And so let's see what's actually going on economically with China, so we can throw out the window this China narrative. So let's go.
There was a big divergence in the US economy versus China's economy. And that's the chart in the right, which shows the percentage of the US economy for China and Europe. And what you see for Europe is that it's been about 50% of the US economy for the whole period since 2006. It's quite at the same level, 50% of the US economy, Europe. While China, it peaked in 2021, and then it's been declining. So from 80% of US economy, it's now at 60%, 20% drop.
So I find this chart to be, this was very new. When I went through your study the first time, this was one of those, oh my God moments, because I did not know it had dropped that significantly.
I was surprised. I wasn't completely surprised, but I was surprised to the scale. 20% is a lot.
It's a huge amount.
Yes, it's a lot, and that made me. So when I hear economists that I respect talking about things, and I tend to listen to them, and when I looked at the data and I realized how wrong they are. Because the whole story or narrative, the stronger narrative that I hear is that China maybe overtook the US economy already. It's growing much faster. And in 20 years, it's going to be twice the size of this economy because it's inevitable because of the population difference.
So, Ed, would you say that the investment community understands this chart?
No, they do not. The narrative out there on X and the economists in general is that China is going to overtake the US, and that there seems to be this understanding that is going to happen soon, but it's actually gone the wrong way since 2020. It's gone completely the wrong way.
Right.
And again, the slides that Carlos was referencing before, demographics are very, very powerful. And China, this speaks to what's going on in China. China is kind of a black hole. We don't know what's going on there a lot, but they are suffering mightily, and that's why we're seeing these trade wars now, because we're going to talk a little bit about this in future slides. They're going to try to export the way out of this problem.
Right. Well, that's what they said. In 2025, they were able to keep exports going, and so the question is, to what is their ability to flood the world and put a lot of people out of business?
Correct.
That will be political. Yeah. And just one comment, and some people I heard, for instance, Trump, some hints when he said in different speeches, I heard things that I went, what? And I was like, okay, let me look. And Besant, over time, that makes me think that some people in the administration know this clearly.
Yes.
Clearly.
Yes, I agree.
And there's a strategy which is going on, which is not being talked about deliberately.
Right. Well, part of it is, they depend on China to be a boogeyman, and a boogeyman has to look powerful. So,
whatever it is, but just from hints of some things that don't make sense. Once you see the data or the layout of the back of what's happening, you start connecting things. Okay.
Right. So what the data says to me is the strategy of a trade war can work.
100%. And if we continue, the report, I concluded that it was, number one, essential. It was something that would save an imbalance that in 10 years would be so great for the world that it needed to be done now. It was done at the right time because of China's demographic problems. So it seems like the whole strategy it's something that was very well thought out in advance, and it was done at the right time.
But I would say the marketing package was superb at persuading you it wasn't done well thought out.
Yeah, that people are just dummy and boisterous, and they talk loud and they don't know what they're doing, and they're just trying to optimize the next quarter's results or something like that.
Yeah,
that's far from what I see.
the boogeyman is a key point there, and we do know that quantum is far more advanced in terms of like academically what's coming out of China and Russia. A lot of the academic side of quantum is hidden in the US, but the boogeyman is a key point there, which is, you know, again, the point that I always want to reiterate, you know, whether it's Al Qaeda or, you know, domestic terrorists or Iran, the boogeyman, the big boogeyman that is, you know, an elephant in a room, many elephants in these rooms, but, you know, working towards, you know, the big bad guy, the big one is China. And yeah, just to reiterate what I've already said, it's absolutely no, there's no reason, there's no logical, rational argument for, you know, acting in a psychopathic or immoral way. It's not good enough, and this is something that is not okay, especially when it comes to technology in business, and, you know, well, not especially, but inclusive of. And yep, I mean, I've said what I need to say. You know, parlaying or delegating responsibility, or kind of, it's like outsourcing violence or outsourcing kind of immoral acts because of, you know, some greater good. You know, well, you know, it might be a little bit bad, but, you know, well, you don't want to be China's bitch, right? Yeah, no, that's not an argument, and it's also the same people, and there's no difference in these people. I mean, yes, I know on a technical level or a more nuanced perspective that, you know, the Western Alliance, or, you know, that there is a lot of darkness going on in China, and there's a lot of kind of like, you know, dark energy on there. But on another level, it is the same people. So let's just not fall for that. Okay, let's not delegate that psychopathy because of China. Let's not keep acting immorally, and let's put an end right now to this. Like, we've got to do it because if we don't do it, China's going to do it. That's a terrible argument. Doesn't hold water, and let's not do that, please. Okay, much love. This is Nick Haslam, Cosmic Service. Ciao for now.